They say that blue is a cool color. It represents calmness and relaxation. But for our main protagonist, Adele, it is the warmest color, for it reminds her of a genuine love that taught her to look inside herself and be true to what she finds there. Adele is a senior high school student studying French literature. In the first few minutes of the movie, we see her intently listening to the teacher, as the latter discusses a passage in their book that details what the female character felt when she first saw the love of her life. He terms it as love at first sight, and asks them to compare it to another piece of literature. But later on during their lunch break, Adele's friends simply sum up the encounter as initial lust. Then they proceed to say that waiting to make love doesn't make sense. As they discuss this, and other feminine things, Thomas passes by them. Everyone sees how he looks at Adele, and assumes he's got the hots for her. Everyone at the table agrees that despite her messy hair and runny nose, Adele has a face that everyone finds cute and adorable. But for Adele, she doesn't notice these things. She gets uncomfortable talking about sexuality, or even about flirting with boys. This makes her think a lot. So when Thomas boards the same bus and sits beside her, she allows herself to have a conversation with him. This eventually leads to Thomas asking her out on a weekend date. As she crosses a pedestrian, she sees a blue-haired woman laughing with her companion. She can't explain it, but Adele can't take her eyes off the woman. The hair color indeed makes her stand out, but it's weird that Adele suddenly feels intense emotions towards her. It looks like the woman feels it too, because she also looks at Adele as she passes by. Adele doesn't know what to think, so she puts the matter at the back of her mind. She meets Thomas, and they proceed with their date. It's a generic one, eating outside, talking and getting to know each other, kissing while watching a movie. They enjoy each other's company. However, she doesn't feel enough for him. That night, her dreams are plagued by the blue-haired woman caressing and pleasuring her. Adele wakes up confused and wanting more. The next week, Adele greets her friends before they enter the school premises. They want to know how her date with Thomas went, including every juicy bit of expected intercourse. But she honestly says nothing happened between them. It makes her feel uncomfortable to discuss such matters publicly, and this makes her feel awkward toward Thomas. She enters the building with him following her. He accuses her of avoiding him. He also confesses that he likes her a lot. Instead of answering, she kisses him. She wants to know, and to prove to herself, that the unexpected fantasies she had over the weekend are for him. Later that day, they make love. However, after the act, Adele finds the experience lacking. Not that Thomas is inexperienced, but rather something is missing in her feelings toward him. She confesses everything to her close friend, Valentin. She gets emotional as she admits that her relationship feels fake. She thinks there must be something wrong with her. But Valentin assures her that there's a reason behind her feelings, and it's not because she's crazy. She decides to break up with Thomas because she thinks it's not fair for him to be in a one-sided relationship. Thomas is hurt, and he leaves her alone. That night, Adele enters her room, breaks down and cries. She's hurt as well by her inability to reciprocate his feelings. To take her mind off things, she and her friends join a rally. It can be interpreted that Adele joins these activities to have a sense of inclusion with her friends. She enjoys shouting the activist chant, so long as her friends are enjoying them as well. As for their purpose, she is still yet to develop her own opinions toward these things, which can represent her sense of self. Days later, Adele sits on the stairs during her break. One of her friends, Beatrice, sits beside her. Beatrice is also a pretty girl, and has a more solid sense of identity. She thinks there's nothing wrong with admiring other girls' bums. She also finds Adele cute. Giving into curiosity, she kisses her. Adele responds immediately and enthusiastically. This has a subtle effect on Adele. As her parents point out later that night, she seems to be in a good mood, and more playful during dinner. Emboldened by this, Adele seeks out Beatrice the next day. She finds her in the girls' restroom. She approaches her and kisses her. But this time, Beatrice doesn't respond. She makes it clear that she's not interested, that she was only curious yesterday when she kissed her. This makes Adele upset. She ignores the calls of her friends until Valentin comes up to her. To cheer up her friend, Valentin invites her to a gay bar. Valentin is openly gay and has no problem with his identity. He has his own group of gay friends who have introduced him to various gay bars. He invites her to dance, but she refuses the offer and remains at the bar. Adele's innocent demeanor makes her look out of place. One of the patrons mistakes her curiosity with apprehension and tells her that love has no gender, so she can take whoever loves her. Adele gets an idea from this, especially since she sees a group of lesbians outside the bar. Perhaps if she goes to the right place, she'll meet the blue-haired woman. Adele goes out and walks towards another club for lesbians. There, sitting on the second floor with another lady, is the blue-haired woman she's been thinking about for several days. It looks like the woman has the same feelings about this meetup. She comes down, saving Adele from a lady who's trying to hit on her. The woman's name is Emma, and she says that Adele's name sounds beautiful. Adele and Emma casually talk about a lot of things. During the conversation, Adele can't believe that she's finally meeting this person who has stirred emotions in her. She looks fascinated as Emma talks about art and philosophy, and shows off how knowledgeable she is about a lot of things. A few moments later, Emma's friends call her to join them. She asks Adele about her school's name, then she promises to meet her there. Indeed, one of the days during the following week, Adele sees Emma waiting for her, just across the street. Without hesitation, she walks toward her, ignoring the calls of her friends. Emma leads her to a serene park. They sit on one of the benches beside a huge tree. Then she creates a portrait sketch of Adele. After sketching, the two have a conversation in which Adele learns more about Emma. Emma is an aspiring artist who takes a lot of inspiration from other contemporary artists. Her philosophy in life is influenced by the French philosopher Sartre. According to him, people are born, exist, and then define themselves through actions. In other words, existence precedes essence. This gives each person a great responsibility to know oneself and form his or her own idea of self. Emma also adds that this philosophy has helped her affirm her values and her identity, and that includes her romantic orientation towards women. Adele can't help but be impressed with Emma's security in herself. In addition, she's starting to absorb some of her philosophies and wonders if she can apply them in her own life. Emma tells her she needs to go, so Adele gives her her phone number for communication. Before they bid each other farewell, they stand close to each other. It's clear that there is intense chemistry between them. Being older and wiser, Emma opts to kiss Adele on her cheek. It's not yet time to act on those impulses. The next day, Adele comes to school and greets her friends. They don't waste time interrogating her about her so-called date with the lesbian. Adele only says that Emma is just a friend, although she doesn't say her name to them. She sticks to it because that is true, at least for now. But her friends insist that something is going on between Adele and her lesbian friend, something that's bordering on indecency, according to their views. They put pressure on Adele to admit something that is supposedly none of their business. On the other hand, Adele is not open about these kinds of things, especially since she is still trying to understand her own preferences in relationships. She knows that once she slips, her friends, or anyone who's not open-minded for that matter, will crucify her for simply being true to her wants. Soon the conversation becomes heated, and eventually becomes an argument. Valentin's group hears the raised voices and backs Adele on her wishes to remain silent on the matter, saying that it's none of their business what she does in her love life. But the so-called friends are relentless, even insulting her, and calling her names that have something to do with eating. Adele finally loses it and tries to grab one of them for a good hair pulling. Thankfully, the altercation doesn't become serious, although for Adele, it's a good thing to see these people's true colors. She doesn't need to be with friends who will only look down on her because of who she is. She walks away, with Valentin comforting her. This incident doesn't stop her from meeting Emma. They meet again at another park and have a picnic. Adele finally asks about the thing that she's really curious about. She asks Emma if she has always preferred women. Emma answers that she tried having relationships with both men and women. In the end, she decides she likes women more. Adele has another curiosity. She gathers her courage and kisses Emma. Right there and then, she knows that the spark is there and is genuine. She feels giddy, knowing that this time, she has kissed the right person. This eventually leads to passionate lovemaking. After their lovemaking, she lies beside her, satiated and wanting to have more. This starts a solid relationship between Adele and Emma. The latter brings her to gay parades, where everyone is free to express themselves. Adele finds herself feeling light and swaying with the beat of rowdy music. Emma kisses her as if they're the only two people there. For Adele, it's exhilarating to know she can do things without worrying what other people may think. She has never been happier and more free than when she's with Emma. Emma introduces Adele to her mother and stepfather. They warmly welcome her into their house and patiently teach her how to eat oysters, something that she's not particular about. There's something pleasing about Emma's parents that makes Adele feel at home. They ask her what she plans for her future. She says that she wants to be a nursery teacher. She likes kids, so it's only rational that she would aim for a job that will get her close to them. The stepfather commends her for being clear with her path, but there's no sense of comparison with Emma's career. In fact, they are in full support of their daughter. Of course, the couple finds an opportunity to make love with each other in Emma's room. Soon, Adele turns 18. Her family celebrates her birthday, along with Valentin and others who are her new friends. The celebration would have been perfect if only Emma had been there, so she decides to bring her to her home and introduce her to her family. However, Adele introduces Emma as her philosophy tutor. She doesn't know how to reveal to her parents that she's having more than a casual relationship with her. The polite, almost bordering on a conservative atmosphere, is not lost on Emma. Adele's parents are more traditional. When they ask Emma about her career as an artist, Adele's father says that it's all well and good, but it would be better if she has a more stable job for her income. Emma makes up a story about having a businessman as a boyfriend, to which Adele's mother approves. The only thing that Emma enjoys during dinner is the excellent bolognese pasta that the father cooks. But despite these old-fashioned views, it doesn't stop the couple from making love, although they need to quiet down their moans. Years pass. Adele and Emma are now living together, and are still strong together. Adele becomes an assistant teacher at a nursery school. Antoine, one of her co-workers, often invites her out with others for an after-work coffee, but she always refuses. Adele is more comfortable at home doing domestic chores. Meanwhile, Emma is already starting out well with her career as an artist. Her artworks consist of paintings of Adele, who has consented to pose. She often throws house parties to build and strengthen her connections in the art world. In these instances, Adele is the one doing all the preparations, including the cooking. At one of these parties, Emma scores, as she invites Joachim, a well-connected gallery owner in their town. Another guest is Lise, Emma's ex and also an artist, who is pregnant at that time. Adele and Emma adore Lise's bulging tummy, while Joachim is trying to convince Adele to read her works. As it turns out, Emma has been flaunting Adele's literary works. As an art enthusiast, Joachim can only use his convincing powers to see those works. In addition, he's also curious to see her in person, because he is so fascinated with Emma's works. But Adele is shy about them, saying that she only writes for herself and doesn't intend to publish them. Emma calls for everyone's attention. She thanks them all for coming and recognizes Adele as her muse in her paintings. Adele feels shy about all the compliments she gets, but she appreciates them nonetheless. Everyone toasts for the couple. Then Adele brings out her famous bolognese pasta, the recipe of which she inherited from her father. It's a hit with everyone, who devours it as they discuss art and philosophy. For most of the party, Emma is with Joachim, Lise, and others. It's understandable, especially when Joachim is discussing her opinions about Emma's paintings. He says that there's a sense of pleasure in each artwork, something that only exists between two women in a relationship. For him, Emma's message is about sensuous romantic pleasures, and how differently they can be expressed by each individual. As much as Adele would like to join the conversation, she knows she doesn't have anything to contribute. That's when she first realizes how far apart her and Emma's worlds are. Emma's is so cultured, discussing deep and important questions that relate to human nature and existence. On the other hand, Adele's world revolves around Emma and her teaching job. It's not that she doesn't have any dreams for herself. Rather, she starts to feel that there is a misalignment in their core as a couple. Fortunately, Samir, one of Emma's guests, engages her with entertaining tales of being an actor in America. For a while, Adele's attention is on him. But from time to time, she can't help but look at Emma, who is cozying up with Lise. After the party, Adele tells Emma that her guests are so knowledgeable that it almost feels uncomfortable to be with them. The latter assures her that she's perfect, and she fits in just fine. Then she convinces Adele to pursue writing. She lets her know that she's grateful for her presence in the house, doing all the chores. But she also wants her to be happy, and she can see that she will be happy if she gets to continue writing. Adele corrects her. She says that she's happy being with Emma, with the way things are. Adele is being honest with her statement, but unfortunately, Emma doesn't try to understand this. Adele's feeling of isolation increases when, at one time, she listens to Emma angrily talking to someone on the phone. She tries to calm her down and distract her, but Emma simply dismisses her concern, as if her presence doesn't add anything valuable to her dilemma. Adele stays quiet, not wanting to aggravate her partner even more. This instance, no matter how mundane it is, pushes an invisible wedge that's starting to divide them. One night, Emma calls Adele to tell her that she will be doing overtime at Lise's. They are working on a mock-up artwork, and she wants it to be perfect. Adele is disappointed. Instead of staying home, she decides to go to a nearby bar where Antoine and other co-teachers are partying. The music is tempting, and the place is hot. Soon, Adele lets go of her inhibitions and dances like there's no tomorrow. She knows that she can be sensual and innocent at the same time, which she discovered during her relationship with Emma. Antoine, who is secretly crushing on her, can't help but get enamored with Adele's beauty and charm. They dance together, their bodies swaying to the rhythm of the music. And then they kiss like there's no tomorrow. Adele is having an illicit affair with Antoine. She tries to keep this a secret from Emma. But as they say, when a woman asks a question, don't try to lie to her, because she already knows. One night after Antoine drives her home, Adele enters the house to find Emma in a grim mood. At first, she gives a chance for Adele to admit her cheating by asking leading questions. But the latter denies it and lies through her teeth. Adele is afraid that the relationship will fail if she tells the truth. She thinks that denying the cheating and pretending that everything is alright will save their relationship. However, this is exactly what angers Emma. She accuses Adele of sleeping with a man, and even has the guts to deny it and act like it's nothing. She calls her a slut, shouting that she feels insulted by the idea that Adele sucks the man dry, then comes home to kiss her. Having no choice, and feeling terrified that everything is falling apart, Adele admits to sleeping with her co-teacher. She adds that she only did it because she felt lonely. Lately, Emma has been spending so much time with her art colleagues that Adele felt alone and helpless in their home. Emma doesn't buy this excuse. Cheating is cheating, and there's no more point in staying with someone she can't trust. She again calls her a slut, then she goes to their wardrobe and pulls out all of her clothes. She forcefully pushes Adele out of the house and throws her things with her. Adele looks pitiful as she screams and begs Emma to let her in, that she's sorry for her mistakes. That night, Adele feels lost, not knowing where she will go. But the world doesn't stop just because she broke up with Emma. She continues her job at the nursery school, not paying any attention to Antoine. It takes all of her self-control not to cry in front of her students, even if tears are already falling from her eyes. It's the end of the school year. The students and their parents are waving goodbye and wishing her a wonderful vacation. She receives many bouquets and even jokes that she can have a full garden with all the flowers. But when she's alone, she finally releases her emotions and cries like a kid. It's not easy to appear okay when your world has fallen apart. There are times when she returns to the park, at the bench where they first sat together, and where Emma first sketched her portrait. A small part of Adele wishes that maybe Emma is missing her as well, and expects her to be there, only to be disappointed in the end. In time, she finally puts herself together. She realizes that it is her first time being alone since Emma. There are moments when she rationalizes the events that led to their breakup. But no matter what she thinks, it always comes back to their core values. Emma is free-spirited and is in tune with her deep understanding of life's nature. This is something that Adele has never really learned to embrace. She thinks that being with Emma, making love, and staying together are enough for a long-lasting relationship. Love at first sight can only carry them so far. But it's their essence, their very core, that determines whether they are meant to be together. Unfortunately, Adele realizes, through the hard and painful way, that she and Emma don't really match at all. That their chemistry in bed is only that, and nothing more. This leaves her with a question: who is she without Emma? 3 years have passed. She has become a grade school teacher. She still loves teaching kids, and she plans to keep the job for a long time. But there are times when she's having nightmares. She wakes up from them, reaching for the person who is not there. Then misery follows, making her stay awake for the rest of the night. At one point, Adele gathers her courage and invites Emma for a casual drink. They meet each other at a quiet coffee place. At first, they update each other on their lives. Emma has become a successful artist. In fact, she has an upcoming exhibit, and she has sent Adele an invitation. She also says that she's with Liz now, and is taking care of her 3-year-old child. Adele becomes bold, telling Emma that she misses her. She's still pining for her, hoping that they can get back together. Emma admits that despite being happy, there are some aspects that she misses. The aspects that she can only experience with Adele. The latter reaches for Emma's hand and starts kissing it. Emma feels the old yet familiar spark. It's clear from her reaction that she still has strong feelings towards it. Emboldened by Emma's reaction, Adele reaches out and kisses her, while putting Emma's hand between her legs. For a moment, it looks like Emma is about to give in to Adele's advances. However, she stops both of them and reveals a painful truth. She doesn't love Adele anymore. It hurts her just as much as it hurts Adele. They quickly gather themselves together and return to the safe ground of civility. They bid each other goodbye and promise to meet again at Emma's exhibit. After her ex leaves, Adele whimpers, as she once again faces the pain of losing her love. Days pass, and it's finally the time for Emma's art exhibit. Adele wears blue, a significant color in her life. She arrives at the gallery, where it's full of art enthusiasts and other artists. She meets Emma and greets her cordially. From what she can see, Adele can tell that it's a successful event, something that she knows Emma has always wanted. She feels her way around, imagining that she's still in a relationship with Emma, and thinks about how she would feel there. Adele realizes that she would still feel out of place. This intensifies when she meets Liz. The two women greet each other without any trace of animosity, knowing that Emma is their common denominator in love. Liz points out that Adele is still the muse of the artworks, and points her to a large painting where she's the main focus. In a way, Adele is grateful to know that a part of her will always be with Emma, even if she's already happy with another woman. Adele meets Samir there. The guy has been pining for her since they first met each other, but she's too focused on herself. After a few small talks, Adele decides to leave the place. She has existed and found her essence in Emma's world. As she walks away, she decides it's time to find her essence in her own world.